You know, our republic was not made for spectators. It was made for participants. So you need to know what's going on, and then when we give you the action items, you need to take action. And this next topic is something we need to be praying about. You know what we say, pray, vote, stand. And when it comes to Israel, you know, we're continuing to monitor that situation as the pause in the fighting has been extended, as I mentioned at the top of the program, additional 2 days while negotiations for the release of more hostages held by Hamas continue. Now, as students of the Bible know, enemies have risen up against Israel and God's people since the dawn of history. What does an understanding of Israel's history and biblical prophecy tell us about these modern attacks on the Holy Land? I mean, Jesus warned us, you know, don't be deceived, don't be surprised, these things would be happening. Well, join me now in studio to discuss this and more is Amir Tsarfati. He is the founder and president of Behold Israel. He's a noted speaker and author of many books, including the upcoming book, Discovering Daniel. Amir, welcome.
Thank you,
to
Tony.
Washington Watch. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
So, just for the benefit of our listeners and our viewers, we go back to, I guess, 2015. We were in
Correct.
Israel. You led one of our first tours that we took to Israel.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
It was.
You brought a few buses, and we had a good time and good fellowship also.
Well, very educational as one who is a follower of Jesus. Mm-hmm. Jewish roots, you understand the country, you understand the geopolitical environment there. Let's just jump right into this, Amir. Give us the latest. You just returned from Israel here to the United States, or just came to the United States from Israel. Give us a sense.
Well, we're a nation that is post-trauma. We just experienced a 1 day of Holocaust, unspeakable crimes against humanity that were performed by bloodthirsty people that have no regards to human life and have no intention to have any peace with us at all. Which, by the way, leads me to Psalm 120 that says that I have dwelt with people who hate peace. When I am for peace, they are for war. And that's who we have business with. And Israel, for the longest time, tried to appease them by giving them jobs within Israel, by allowing money to flow in. But this monster, rose one morning and tried to devour us.
It's beyond description.
Yeah, I have no words.
I mean, I've used this term. Correct me if you think I'm wrong, but it's demonic.
I don't think a human to be someone who was created in the image of God. I don't see an ounce of the image of God in people that do stuff like that. Yeah. It is definitely
it's almost under the control of something else.
Absolutely.
Because I was a police officer. I was in the military, but I've seen crime scenes. I've seen things, and what this. The depictions, the pictures I've seen, the stories, it's beyond what I believe humans could do to one another.
And I think that's what the Israelis understand right now. We're facing something that is far above and beyond what we ever expected. This is not something we are willing to live next to.
Nor should you have to.
I know. Well, some people think we should.
But Amir, let's talk about that, because now the sympathy is beginning. The media is fueling the sympathy for. And look, I pray for believers that might be in Gaza, and I don't want to see bloodshed. But I've been there. I've been to the border. I was there in 2014 when the attacks were taking place. I mean, I've seen the land. I know how indefensible it is under the best of circumstances.
Exactly. And we're facing right now a battle between two things. One, we have the largest terror base on planet Earth. And in the north, we have the largest or the strongest terror organization on planet Earth.
Right. And you're sandwiched in between.
We're sandwiched right in between them.
And it's not a big parcel of land.
Nope. And we understand now, that was a wake-up call for us.
Yes.
We understand now that there is no way we can live like that even a day longer.
Right.
So we are doing what we should have done long ago, and we didn't because of pressure.
Okay, let's talk about that pressure, because we're seeing that pressure arise again.
Correct.
Even from this country that we're sitting in
Yes.
right now, the Biden administration pushing for this quote-unquote pause, which has stopped Israel from taking care of business.
You know, right now, the Israeli troops in Gaza are seeing, watching, looking at Hamas terrorists regrouping and reorganizing. Right now, we see we cannot shoot them, but we see that what they're planning for us once this pause is over is far greater than what we had with them before. This was a terrible mistake to stop right now. We should have had a pause, but 2 weeks from now, when northern Gaza is completely leveled, all the tanks are facing the south, now let's talk business.
And I should mention you served as a major in the IDF. So let's talk about the support from evangelicals here in this country. I mean, the UN is like on the other side of this.
Absolutely.
It's disgusting what we're hearing out of the UN Secretary General. Where else is Israel finding support from?
Not too many. It's funny. We do have unexpectedly support from Germany and from Hungary and the Czech Republic.
Everything.
But believe it or not, we see unbelievable wave of anti-Semitism all over the world that is also to some degree hosted and tolerated by governments, such as in Belgium and in Spain, in other places. I mean, the Irish Prime Minister just tweeted yesterday, Emilia was found. She was lost and she was found. She was not lost. She was kidnapped.
Right.
And she wasn't found. She was released for 3 terrorists that we had to release for her. I mean, that's how it works. They live in a parallel universe. It's a different
Is it
planet.
intentional?
I believe that, first of all, in Ireland, it's a built-in, I think there's a deeper problem there. And I think that right now, by the way, what happened on October 7th, Tony, has caused a tectonic shift of many plates in many different levels all around the world.
Yeah.
And we're watching
Agreed.
it happening. And a lot of countries are now dealing with built-in anti-Semitism that they had for many years, and now it's rising, and now they have to choose Jewish people that we know that are not posing any harm for our country versus those Muslim migrants that we brought now that are leading this whole anti-Jewish
And they're afraid
thing.
of them.
They're afraid of them, exactly. They're afraid of them in France, they're afraid of them in Belgium, and now look what happened in Holland, in the Netherlands.
Right. So, Amir, let's put this in biblical context.
Yes.
I mean, people are asking, what does this mean? Where does this fit in to Scripture?
Okay, so we're watching 3 things that are happening right now. First of all, we're watching a resolve on behalf of the Israelis to live without borders anymore, without fences, without walls, because we're about to defeat our enemy. We're about to crush the enemy. It's something that we lived for years under the guise of the larger the wall is, the better the anti-missile defense system is, the better it is. No. We have to live without that enemy on the other side. But the second thing that is happening is Jews all around the world now wake up to the reality that there is no safe place for them as Jews than Israel.
How do you explain that other than it being spiritual?
I can't explain that. But these Jews, in most of the countries where they were the leading liberal voices in America and in Western Europe. And right now they see that being liberal is not enough, being progressive is not enough. They hate me for being a Jew.
Right. Which, if you look at that, is a very small population, relatively speaking, to the rest of the world. Why the sustained historical hatred?
It's spiritual.
That's the only way.
It's spiritual.
Yes.
Because we honestly, show me one bad thing that the Jews, I mean, there are Jewish people that did, stuff that I might not like.
Yeah, but
exactly. But as a nation.
But look what they contributed.
Exactly. And look at the Nobel Prizes that we won, and look at the innovation and technology. And the interesting thing is that really, there is no other way to describe it but spiritual. Even now, the Jewish people themselves realize it's above and beyond what we can see.
So it's a wake-up call for this generation.
It's a wake-up call. Jews return back to Israel. in thousands, and the Jews in Israel are fleeing. There's an exodus from hedonism and materialism and secularism towards believing in God because they understand.
So a spiritual revival?
It's a mini revival. It's not a revival that I would expect. I mean,
It's a
they're not
return to the
following
roots.
Christ.
Right.
Exactly. First, you have to return to your God and then
Right.
understand what God did for you.
Right.
And so we see that happening right now. And it's amazing. It's amazing.
So how should evangelicals be looking at this situation? How should we be praying into it?
Well, first of all, I believe standing for Israel and with Israel always cost. And if you're not willing to do that, there's a problem here. Jesus is going to one day judge the sheep and the goats based on how they treated the least of his brethren. I mean, even Joel chapter 3 talks about the fact that nations will be judged according to what they did to the nation of Israel.
Right.
Christians must know that they have to stand for Israel, have to pray for Israel, have to help them. Literally help them.
Right.
That's the way it is. God is expecting that from them. But also I think that we need to pray that for many Jewish people, that the veil will be lifted as they make their way to their God.
See, I think this is that opportunity, not just for the Jewish people, but for the world to see
Yes.
that. See, I'm believing and praying that God is going to do what he's done in the past for Israel. He's going to show himself mighty
Absolutely.
to save, and it will be beyond man's explanation.
Yeah.
Without pointing to God. I mean, that's the only way you can explain it, is you point to God, which will be this revelation for those who have eyes to see, they'll be able to see it.
Absolutely. You're right. And I do believe that if you really have eyes to see and ears to hear, you're about to see amazing things. God is on the move right now. And by the way, I believe God is testing the nations right now. Is testing the nations, and among the nation, he's testing the believers, his people.
Yeah.
And Israel is
on where we stand with
Yes,
Israel.
Israel has always been. Look, when I began to travel around the world, God showed me wherever you go, look at what they teach about Israel, and you will know the spiritual state of that church, because it's like a litmus test. It's amazing.
So when I chaired the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, we were looking at this rise of anti-Semitism in Western Europe. And part of the concern, and historically speaking, is that that's usually, as the Special Rapporteur for Anti-Semitism at the United Nations said, it's the canary in the coal mine.
Correct.
And so if Christians are silent here on what is happening to Jewish people all over the world, we're next.
Absolutely. And by the way, those terrorists always say the Saturday people are first, the Sunday people are next. They use that term. They don't even hide it. And I mean, Europe must wake up, and America must wake up. America has thousands of sleeping cells all across the country. Your southern border is so open, and I can't even imagine how many Hezbollah and Hamas cells are in your country right now.
Yeah.
They're testing you. And look, they waited and waited and waited and deceived us and deceived the whole area that they're deterred and they're not going, and then boom, one day they strike.
So was a part of it the political acrimony and division in Israel that opened the door for this, you think?
Absolutely. They saw that they thought Israel is too weak to respond. The society is too divided. They lost their patriotism. They lost the sense of, giving your life to this country. That's what they thought.
That's what.
Yes.
You sounds like you're describing America, though, too.
Absolutely, because this is exactly what the whole world is experiencing, and America leads that. And I'm telling you, when they smell weakness, they strike.
So we're positioned to be hit.
I have no doubt. I've said that from day one. For me, when I came it wasn't 9/11, it was 9/9. I came to America. And I gave a teaching called Will There Be Peace? And I talked about the coming Islamic terrorism to America. Nobody bought the tape, don't worry. The next day I was in New York City, and I asked, what's going to happen if something hits those two buildings? Because I asked Pastor Lloyd Pulley from Calvary Chapel of Old Bridge, and the next day it happened. And because to me it was evident that they're just waiting for the right time to do it.
If you have eyes, you can see.
Absolutely. And I hope that Americans are going to wake up to understand that you are in a crisis right now, and you have to stand up, and you have to change this policy. And you know what you need to do in November.
Amir, unfortunately, we're out of time. We could spend the rest of the night talking. Very quickly, how can folks find out more about Behold Israel?
Well, beholdisrael.org. We are on Telegram, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, Behold Israel. And again, go online to our website and you'll find the rest.
And frequently with our mutual friend Jack Hibbs.
Yes,
out
exactly.
Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills. Amir, thanks so much for joining us today. Always great to see you, brother.
You too.